Hello and welcome everyone to Locked On iRacing, back to a solo edition because that's how the time suits. I am Peter Wilkinson and I am here to talk about Week 5 in iRacing, Season 4 2024. So stay late on this one because work has been a nightmare. Also just having a few, lots of issues mentally at the moment. So if you want to hear about all that, I'll be doing Nothing But Ramblings episode straight after this. If I didn't do it, I think there'd be no content from me for a little bit because I'm just struggling at the moment. So go check out Nothing But Ramblings. It'll be up tomorrow. It'll be up on the RSS feed. You look for Nothing But Ramblings on the podcast feed, it'll be up there today at some stage. So it always goes up there before it goes to YouTube. But if you're interested to find out what's happening behind the scenes in my head, it's going to be an episode today, I tell you what. But the shorts have dried up on the feed. I've got plenty to put up. I've gone to a process where I'm taking a little bit longer to do them, which is giving them subtitles, and that helps with the algorithm on YouTube side. But that process has slowed things down a little bit, but I took a bit of a hit with a few people, few random comments from people who just don't matter at all. So, but still, my mental head at the moment is reading into things a little too much. And when you're a lonely YouTuber / podcaster / Twitch streamer that is doing a niche of sim racing and you're not really good at it, you are trying to get better at it, and that's your whole shtick, then, people are very quick to go, hey, you're pretty crap at this, and move on with their lives. But it's sort of, I don't move on with the comments like that. So, look, it's on me. I will get confidence back up and release some of these shorts. There's some really good ones, especially from some of the stuff we're about to talk about now, which I'll get out to you fairly soon. Also, work has coincided with a very busy patch at work at the moment where I'm just not getting the time during the day to be able to do it because I'm actually busy doing work stuff at the moment. It's one of those things. Finances have to be maintained very specifically at the moment because, one wrong move and we're out of cash yet again. So when you're trying to get yourself out of a hole, it's not just a direct straight out of a hole. So anyway, I'll go into that a bit further on another podcast. But this week we are talking about Week 5. The week that came off a fairly big high of vets at Oschleben and also Mount Panorama in the officials for V8 Supercars. Was a pretty good week, had some great success. Bathurst gave us really good confidence in the supercar. And then they put Long Beach on the register, on the schedule for week number 5, and did it bring me back down to earth big time. Went into Tuesday night's official, and it went to 32 cars, which is a full split in supercars. There's no second split, which meant I went in. I was not very highly rated of this very strong field. We're talking a strength of field of 2,854. I was car number, let's have a look at it here, car number 25 of 32. So I was definitely not meant to do a very good result in this race because of how things had worked with life and me taking a small break from the sim for 48 hours after Bathurst and then running into a public holiday on the Monday. So Tuesday came around. Tuesday was busy at work and I just didn't get time to get in the rig to have any practice at Long Beach. And let's just say I was off the pace by a long margin. And in practice, I even went to a separate solo edition of the practice area, which I didn't know you could do, but you can. And I sat there and crashed almost every time I tried to go around. I could not get a consistent lap in. Nearly pulled out, but thought, oh, no, just survive. That's all you're going to do. Get to the end of the race and you'll be top 15 easy on a track like this. Just survive. And got to the point where I was fairly confident and that I could at least survive, but then got on the track and there was 7 or 8 cars I passed on the first 2 corners because of Long Beach, because of how crazy it is. And then was going okay, to be honest. Was going fairly consistently for 2 or 3 laps, and then just came out double right-hander after the fountain, the roundabout, and just went a little wide into the wall, clipped the wall on the outside a little bit too hard, got myself a meatball. Car was fine. I was off the pace though, so I was doing probably 3 or 4 seconds a lap slower than what I should have been to be just safe. So I wasn't really, I was struggling. It's a bumpy track. It's, you got to be very careful. You got to really know your markers, and I just didn't know them. So it was bring back down to earth, got into the pit lane, and found 15 seconds of required repairs, and went back out, was doing fine, but was real slow and felt dangerous on track, to be honest. Trying to duck and weave from the fast guys, especially on that track. It's very hard to find some places to let people pass safely. And a couple laps later, I found myself into another wall and needing to repair, and I don't think it was a meatball. I just was not feeling it. I was out, just did not feel safe at all. I didn't want to ruin anyone else's races or anything like that, and went to pull into the pits and got wedged. Actually, I didn't even do that. I think I spun it. I think I lost it, hit the wall, spun it, and then got wedged in pit entry, which, if you know Long Beach, it's a terrible pit entry at the best of time. And this is around the time when people are starting to pit. I'm starting to get concerned, so I just, towed straight out of there, and that was it. There was damage. It was another meatball, and it was about 20 minutes of damage. I think I'd just gone straight, trying to avoid someone, and hit a wall. It just wasn't, it wasn't a very good result. There was damage. It was 20 minutes. It was only 20 minutes to go in the race, so I pulled the pin and got out of there because it did not feel good. And obviously, with that being the vets on Thursday night, I then dedicated the next 2 days or 48 hours to just practice Long Beach. Watch the videos from the coaching in vets, which is really good, and watch the telemetry out of that. Learnt and understood the track a lot more than what I had, obviously, on no practice. I knew the track, I just didn't know the supercar around that track, and really worked on safety more than anything else for that period of time. And just got to the place where I was safe going around that track, and that was the main thing. Got to the next race was vets, so did vets on the Thursday night, and I knew leading into it I need to find about half a second to be sort of relevant and pace where I wanted to be. I was safe, and I knew I had tyre life, so did some last minute sort of laps. Understood. Did a lot more analytics on data than I used to do for any race, and really understood. Okay, the 2 sections I'm losing, the 5/10 is these two. Let's focus on them. And it was that part from the water fountain to the back straight, after the water fountain, the left-hander / 2 right-handers, and going into the water fountain, I was losing probably about 4 or 5/10 just there on a few people that are in locked on lads. So there was also then the last turn was causing a little bit of pain as well, but that was just me getting confident with putting the foot down without spinning it, and worked on that. Got into the practice session for vets and found I was doing I think it was 5th, with a pretty standard time that I was happy with. Still off what Matty Monday and Boise were doing, but felt comfortable in the car. It's the most comfortable I've felt in the car in a long time. And we did Bathurst, and I still felt better than that. And felt like I had the pace, which was good. And wanted to make up for last week where we had the whole jump start, which was still a great result, but had something to prove, I guess, going into it. So went into it and put down a qualifying lap on the first lap out that put me in 3rd, and I'm like, oh, here we go. That's a little bit exciting. It was a really good lap, and definitely the best quality lap I've done and ended up in third place. And did get nervous, especially streaming. You got a few people there watching you, and third place, something to prove on a track like this. It's the best spot to be because there will be carnage in the first couple of corners. We knew that going in. I'd talked to Maddie and Boise leading into it, and on Facebook, and we were all sort of panicking about that first corner. And then I was panicking about starting the car, didn't want to jump start, and then also had someone in my head saying that it's a low gear ratio on this track, so don't put the foot down too hard. You will get bogged down and spin the wheels and not go anywhere, more than any other setup that we've raced. I had all that in the back of my mind, and then got the slowest start I could possibly do. The only thing that helped me was Matty Monday in front did the opposite of what I did, and spun the wheels big time because of that low gear ratio, and went nowhere. So he's on the first, I'm in third, and our line just went nowhere. And slipped down to about 8th or 9th going into the third or fourth corner on the back straight where I finally settled in. And it was still a case of I'm terrible in the car for the first 3 or 4 laps. And that's why I was shocked that I did such a good quali, because it was the first time I'd been fast in the car from the start. But topic for this Nothing But Ramblings was going to be fear/pressure, and that's what I need to deal with. And I even heard another one today about confidence being earned, and I haven't earned for me the confidence to be in the positions that I'm finding myself in, even though that's counterproductive because I'm finding myself there, so I should have the confidence. But it's a problem I have, and the pressure is something that I need to get over. And sitting there first lap in 8th when I'd qualified 3rd, I still found that I'd not settled into the car yet. And it was interesting. It was, I think Brad Hayes got past me again, so pushed me back one more spot. And then we I think we had an early safety car too. So got into a bit of a gap and started lapping. Was happy with my pace, keeping it off the walls. Had the strategy lined up. First pit, get in there, fill it up with as much fuel as we can, up to about 21, 22 to go, and litres to go. The total for the race, and then just chuck that on with tyres at some stage down the track when we got a safety car that suited my strategy. I'm giving away my strategy for free for you guys out there if you're listening in split 4 or split 3 or split 2. Sorry, but I'm just giving it away. I shouldn't be doing that. I should be keeping it close to my chest, but that's what the plan was. It was take a hit on track position early, get the fuel in the car so that when I stopped later on, especially under safety car, I would jump everyone because I'd only splashing and dashing and go. I'm confident with a full car. I'm confident with the tyres. So it was an easy call when the safety car came out really early and I jumped in. Problem was that the first thing I do when I jump on that rig is fix the INI file to get rid of auto fuel, because when auto fuel is on and I forgot to turn it off, I'd set 58 litres was what was my figure that I'd worked out that I wanted in only 150k race. So 58 litres, excellent. Go in, stop up, top up, let's go. But auto fuel took over and wanted to put in 80 plus litres into my tank, which was a full tank, which is enough for the full race, which means you're coming in later on and just putting tyres on, so you're wasting that time. When if you leave a little bit of fuel for later, you're saving yourself time on the pit lane and chucking that fuel in later over covering your tyres, so it's not a problem. It's just a smarter way to do it. It saves you time over the length of the race. But I saw it go past the point of what I wanted, so I'm like, quick, auto off, change it down. It dropped me, but auto didn't go off, it stayed on. So every time I dropped the jacks, it jumped me back up on the jacks and kept on topping up until I finally worked out how to get rid of it, which was the auto fuel was still ticking itself. So every time I was in the bay, it wanted to put more fuel in. And we got to, I think it went up on the jacks 4 times. Got almost, it got the full amount for the fuel for the race. I didn't need any more fuel for the race. So it got all the fuel it wanted to get in, and it cost me 10 seconds maybe more on the pit lane than what I wanted. And we come out, we're in 22nd or something like that. So I knew we were going to take a hit on track position going in, but I knew we'd get it back later on, and surprise, surprise, there was another safety car pretty much straight after. So we done a few laps, safety car, and then we didn't. I decided at this stage it's too real early. I can clear off the second stop now if I wanted to, but we're going to have to do tyres at the end. I don't want to do that. We're going to get more safety cars. It's Long Beach. We're going to have about 4 or 5 safety cars. On the second one, I don't need to chew up more time on the thing. So I'm going to take the track position gain and stay out there. And that's what I did. And we end up back into 8th or 9th or something at this stage. So we're doing well. And I'm doing well. And we're going along. And next stint was a fairly long stint. So felt good. And got the start. And we're going along pretty well until we got our third safety car of the race, and this is when it's about 22 laps, so it's about halfway along, or 22 to go or something like that. It was about halfway through the race, and I thought, okay, there is the chance we're risking it now. If we go to the end, I've got to do a green flag stop, which I just refuse to do unless I'm getting out of the way of something or doing it real early. I don't want to do it at the end. You do it early because the safety car can fix that up later on. You don't do it late. And I didn't want to get stuck out there with like 5 to go and have to do a stop just to get some tyres and get the compulsory stop out of the way. So we're about halfway. Let's get the tyres. Let's go to the end. And I'd worked my way back up onto the back of 3 cars. So I think I was our 6th at this stage. Oh, 8th. I was 8th. And I worked my way back onto the back of about 3 cars that were fighting, which included, I think, Whiting and John Van Ray and someone else was in that group, and might have been Pato was in there as well, but pulled in, and because we didn't have to flash any fuel, it was just tyres and go. We jumped all 3 of them. I came out in front, and it might not have been them then, it might have been someone else, because I came out of this safety car, I had Gunter behind me, and I was sitting in 8th or 7th at this stage, so we're in a good position, and I can see on my data that I'm the 3rd car in the row of cars in front that has pitted twice. Everyone else has only pitted once. So everyone else in front of us has still got to do a stop. So we're going to gain as long as we can hang on. And we just had to clear space from the crew behind. That was the key thing. I didn't want to get bogged down in a battle with Gunter and a few of the others, and I just needed to clear them and sort of start working on the cars in front. And we come around for the last turn, about to go green, and I put my foot down. And coming out of the last turn, I'd got in the rhythm of short shifting. So there's a kick when you hit, because it's so bumpy on Long Beach, and because the gear ratio is so small, I believe that's why it is. But if you max out the gears, max out the rev limiter on gear 1, it kicks and it tries to kick you to the right, and you really got to either grab it or short shift. And short shifting wasn't costing time, it was actually just making it safer. So my brain, even though I'd done 70 or 80 laps going into this thing, my laps, my confidence, my brain, whatever it was, I was thinking about 45 other things at once, and it just forgot the short shift. And I originally thought I was still had the wheel turned, and it's put the foot down and it's flicked me sideways, but it wasn't. When I looked on replay, I kept the foot down and I hit that rev limiter, and the tail end just kicked out, and we went sideways and we started spinning around, and I'm heading towards a wall. Got no way to stop this thing. It's point of no return. I can't fix it. And then I find myself going into pit entry. Back of the car hits, and we've got a pretty straight car at this stage. We've clipped the wall coming out of the fountain. No damage, just cosmetic, and that's about it. The back end, just behind, just on the tyres, pretty much whacks the tyre wall on the entry into pit lane, and flicks me back around, so I'm heading straight, but I'm in pit lane. I can't get out of pit lane at this stage, and on a restart. So I've gone from 8th back to the back of the field because I've given myself a drive through. Now it's 30 plus seconds. I had this all worked out before going in. I knew how long it was going to take me to go through that pit lane, just so I knew how long a stop would push me back, so I didn't get lapped. in case we had to do a green flag stop early and I wanted to get out of traffic and stuff like that. I'd done all this maths going in, so I knew it all. And 30 seconds back puts me way off the back of the field. Not way off, but off the back of the field and pretty much dead last in the race, bar a handful of cars that I lapped down. All because of a stupid mistake that I've made. And we'd done half the race, or more than half the race. We put ourselves in a gun position. At this stage, when I go back and look at it, the only person in front of me that would have finished in front of me at that stage, theoretically, was Sean Slater, but his VR fell out. So 1, 2, and 3 for the end of the race were sitting was behind Gunter. So Gunter was behind me, and then Whiting, Waters, and Monday were the cars behind that. If I stay on track in that position, don't have to pit again, technically I'm winning. And at this stage, that's why I got straight into my Discord and said that's the one that got away, because I really think if I had have done the first half, the second half like I did the first half, hadn't have made that error, I would have at least been a podium, if not a good crack at winning that thing, unfortunately. But pressure does weird things to the body and the mind, and that's what happened. I just forgot one of the basic rules of that track, and that's flick spinning when you rev it too much coming out of that final turn because of the banking and the camber and all that kind of stuff. So it ended up no damage to the car. I thought, oh, here we're going to have to use might as well just use the fast repair, get it out of the way, get a new car, but seemed straight. So we kept on going, came around, someone spun Boise on the final corner, so he'd fallen back to the back with me, and me and him about a second and a half apart and just lapped. And I can see on my Delta, we're the fastest cars on track by 1. And we're really starting to catch up. I'm starting to actually dive and overtake people confidently, which was a big win out of this week. Made some really good passes, places where I wasn't expecting to, and but still just put the nose there and followed through with it this time instead of pulling out, which was really good. And that was a really good stint of recovery, and it got me back to 8th when the final, I think 7th, we had a final safety car with about 5 6 to go. I'd worked my way back from last to 8th again. A lot to do with the pit stops, because I didn't have to pit again, and a lot to do with the fact that we were just pacing and doing fast laps compared to everyone else. And we worked our way right back into it. And I was happy. I said to stream, I'm really happy with the top 10, considering everything that's happened here. And it's Long Beach. Long Beach going into it, I just didn't want to do it. So I wasn't confident there, and I was just get out of it alive. And then did the restart, avoided a bit of chaos, and then a couple laps into the restart, I've got John Van Ray behind me, I believe it is, and I just turn in too early for turn 1 and clip more of the curb than I usually do. You just kiss it usually, and I've really hit it hard, so I got the car right up on 2 wheels. And to my credit, somehow got the steering right and broke and kept it straight, where every other time I'd done that in practice, that was the end of it. It spun around and the car was facing the wrong way, and that's the end of it. We hit the wall slightly on the right, and unfortunately, sorry, John, stopped smack bang in front of you and you ran up my rear, which was the final straw for the car, I think, because we damaged the wing at this stage. I get out of that corner, we hold everyone up, it's not very good, and the car's not feeling right through these next couple corners. We get out in the main straight, the car tries to flick every time I put the foot down now, rather than, so it's either I may have overheated the tyres, or the wing was broken and now we had no downforce on the rear tyres. One of those two things happened out of there, because the car was sketchy as hell after that incident. And coming around to the first back straight, where you do the left-hander to go to the next little back straight before the next back straight, it's a terrible track. I just put the foot down coming out too early without that traction in the rear spun, and then I found myself facing the wall, not hitting the wall, but facing the wall. And I just didn't have the confidence to reverse back a little bit and straighten her up and go again. I just had to wait for all the cars. I went back to the back of the field yet again, and found myself in about 18th or 19th, still on the lead lap. And seconds down on the next person. I think it was about 10 seconds down on the car in front at this stage, and battled back, really took some time out of, I think it was Darren, and I think a couple of laps later I was back on his rear, and this is why I could have been tyres, because after this it was still sketchy, but I'd worked it out, or the tyres might have cooled down a bit, because I think I locked it up after trying to straighten up, so it was probably the tyres more than the wing, but was doing good rhythm again and caught up to Darren. Coming down the main straight, I've got way more kick out of the last turn than Darren does, and I'm coming up alongside. He weaves one way, I'll go the other way. He then weaves that way, so we're blocking down the straight with about 2 laps to go, which is, look, it is what it is. And I should have just gone down the inside. I should have waited for a couple turns, realistically, but I got red mist in the eyes and went, I just need to fight back as hard as I can to try and salvage something out of this, and found myself on the outside going into turn 1, and then he's moved over and there's track there, but it's a slowdown penalty if you cross that blue line, and I'm about to go across this blue line, so I'm busy watching this, trying to save myself the penalty, trying to save anything, and missed the braking marker and went straight into the wall. Didn't break the car any more than it was already broken, just pulled her out, no cars behind because we were already that far back, pulled the car out and did the last 2 laps in anger and upset and horribleness, and finished 18th in a race that we were right in it. But them's the breaks, especially around Long Beach. But we were 11th last week in the championship, and after race 4 in the series, we're now 10th. We've gone up a spot from finishing 18th. We've got 2 really bad results in there. So technically, one of them will go, because the other one I am using I think when we go to Mugello or one of those tracks, I can't make it. So 24th of October, I won't be racing. Well, that's like next week. But yeah, anyway, I won't be racing because I've got a family appointment. My daughter's presentation for her horses is that night, and I can't get out of it. So that's going to be one of my drop rounds, and probably this or week 1 will be my other one. So we're going to be stuck with one of the bad results. There's no way around it. But we're in 10th. We've got Matty Beale in front of us, who whacked me a couple of times coming out of the last corner, including when we're on the safety car and he was getting a wave around. But that last corner's a nightmare anyway. We've got Dave Baldock in front of us and Phil Whiting are the next sort of handful that are in front. Timmy Hall and Stephen Lockhurst are behind us, as well as Anita. So they're the ones I'm sort of battling with each week. There are a few people below us that will jump back up. Russell Uren is one of them. Sean Slater's probably another one. Ones that have had really bad results in single rounds, like Sean's car VR broke on him. Russell's been overseas. So those kind of people will jump back up a bit ahead of me. But, you know, that's where we're at. I'll maybe gain a little bit of ground on some of the cars in front, but I just got to start getting some good results in for the season. But that's my vets roundup for round 4. From there, I wanted some retribution, I guess. And on Friday morning, I found myself at home yet again for the Americas version of Long Beach, and jumped in that. Had pace, felt good. Started 20th. And really a 30 car field. It was really good for a Long Beach race for the Americas. But 2212 strength of field. And was going okay. Had this complete silly driver just, you know, dive bomb in front, and it was that whole situation of they're quicker than me on 70% of the track, but the other 30% where I'm quicker, they make awful mistakes right on line, and you can't get past them. And and they were slowing me up by, like, you know, 2 or 3 seconds a lap. Too early to pit in to get fuel. But I got frustrated behind them. I just let them pass. I let the person behind me then pass to try and put them off, like let them put the person off and try and sneak through at the same time. And they were making, like, they were getting really sideways into corners. And there's nothing you can do. You got to be close enough to make the pass. But if you are that close and they make an error, you got nowhere to go. So you just have to balk up. Otherwise, you hit them and you ruin the race and you potentially put yourself into damage. So it was one of those things of I'll be patient. We'll get them after the pit stop. They either pit early, we pit late, or I'll pit early and they can pit late, or we'll sort it out. There's no way that if I'm clear, I'm not faster than them. So be patient. That's what I did until they spun coming off the third of the back straights before the right hander into the left into the final corner. They spun as predicted, and I'd left them enough room. They went off into the wall on the left, into the tyre wall, which is where they should have stayed. But there was no brake holding from this person whatsoever, and they ricocheted off the wall better than I've ever seen any car ricochet off any wall in history, and came straight back off into my line because I'd taken the really hard right hand side of the track. They shouldn't have got anywhere near me, especially if they're holding their brakes. There was no way they were getting near me, but they didn't. And the bounce was epic, and I went straight into the side of them and got a meatball. And that was the end of that race. I got then came out of the pits with the leaders, which, you know, it wasn't a bad meatball. It was about 5 or 6 minutes, and I was frustrated at this stage, especially from the 2 races I had it. Long Beach leading up to that, and I just went, cool, no problems. I'm just going to lap. We'll get some spots. It'll be fine. We'll do our best. And I was letting Chastity by at turn 1, and I was looking at something else, and I just didn't even miss my braking marker. I missed my gearing down, so I went in a little too hot, went straight, tapped the wall in front, and blew the engine. And I went, that's the end of it. I'm towing. I'm out. Got out of the server, and Ted technically finished 24th in that race. I think it was, 24th. And then went, what can I jump in? Nothing of interest was around there, but there was an MX5 rookie race at Orschleben. And I thought, oh, well, here we go. Let's have a crack at this. Jumped in that in a practice session, nowhere near a guy, and he goes wide, and then gets on the mic and abuses me for rear-ending him. And I'm like, mate, I didn't touch you, and I've got footage. I definitely didn't touch him. And he was aggressive. I think he's an American, been on about 40 drinks that day. And because then I let pass. We're at the end of the straight, and I'm just like, he's gonna rear end me from spite here. So I just pulled over and let him past. And look, he was quick, but he just was all over the shop. Was making mistakes left, right, and center. He was one of these people that I just dealt with. So, you know, I was not practiced in the MX5 at that. I knew the track, but I just didn't know the MX5 around there, so I wasn't quick anyway. I was just trying to fill in some time, and then he's got on the mic and abused the guy in front of him again when this guy's pulled over to let him pass, but instead of just staying on the outside on the straight and going straight, he's then pulled to overtake this guy and followed him on the straight. And he rear-ended him, so he's then abusing this guy for get out of my effing way, rah, rah, rah. So I just went, I was in a mood, so I just went, mate, you're a 300 iRating driver in a MX-5, and you're all over the shop. How about you just settle down? Because he had an iRating of 300, which is an effort. But anyway, he came back with a few little, who do you think you are, you Peter Brock, or, you know. And I'm just, mate, I'm just not an angry person like you, so have a great day. And the race thing had come up, so I just jumped out. And I'm like, just have a great day, whatever. And never saw him again, because I'll never have to race against someone with a 500, unless, especially in a rookie race like that where there's 100 people in it. So not my problem anymore. And went into the race, and had another drunk American in there, and he was talking about how good he was, and he missed quali and done an off track. He was 6/10 up on the field, and now he's going to start from last. And I'm like, here we go. So I let him go. I started 10th of 12, so he was one of the cars behind me. I'm like, just go. I don't have time for this, and went to the back of the pack and just wanted to watch him wreck a few cars on the way through. Didn't have the confidence in the track anyway, in the car on the track. And sat off the back of the field and just did laps because I was just trying to unwind, I guess, more than anything. And he's every corner he's commentating himself over voice to everyone, and then congratulating people on great moves. And I think at one stage I was behind him, and he thought on the back straight there I was going to dive him. He's like, "Don't you dare think about it. I'm going to the center of the track." And I'm like, "Okay, dude, whatever." And it was hilarious. And then he's the first corner, the second corner, really, the sweeping right hander at Osterleben, and he's gone wide. So I'm like, "Here we go, cool. I'm going to go down the inside here." And he went actually wide and went off the grass and flicked it back on, missed the back of my MX-5 by about 5 mil, I reckon was it, and then clearly collected old mate that was behind me and put them both out of the race. And he's apologising and all that kind of stuff, but anyway. I got 7th, and then for some reason my brain just wasn't sicked on. I did about 4 laps after the race had finished, thinking it wasn't finished yet. I'm used to long races, but the old MX-5 rookie race is only about 10-minute race, if that. So one of the guys in chat's like, "Oh, you blasted the field now," and I'm like, "Oh yeah, there's no one on track, and there is a checkered flag up. Okay, cool, I'm off." And that was a sign to probably get off for the day. And that is the last time I raced my race in the rig for week 5. I didn't do a production car race this week. Apparently it was a wet race anyway. The 1 or 2 times I tried to jump on, there was not enough people to make it an official, so it wasn't worth it. It was at Imola, so I was pretty excited about that, but no production car this week and no GT3 because we got on Monday night. Timmy wasn't wasn't able to do it. Buzzer wasn't really feeling it either, and I wanted to get some practice in. I half tempted and wanted to go back and have one last crack at Long Beach in the supercar, but I decided to do practice Road America for this week for vets and for the officials. So we spent a bit of time doing laps there, and I feel fairly confident. I still need to find a second. I think I've got to jump on the rig in a second. Just see where I sit on a vets track. In the official, you'll hear about that next week because that's a hell of a story. But in that, I think a high 207s is where I sort of sit at the moment, and I really need to be in a high 206s. But I think that could be the track condition. So I'm going to jump on the vets one and see if the track condition is eating up probably a half of that anyway, and I might just need to find half a second somewhere. But I think I'm comfortable in the 207s. High 208s, I'm comfortable to just lap there and get good wear out of the tyre. It's a 250k race, so it's a long one, so that should be good for me. Any mistakes should be able to get eaten up by that. There shouldn't be as many safety cars this week because there's some good runoff, but that turn 1 to turn 2 patch, there's some pretty narrow things, and you get a little bit off there and you are in the wall, and that's a long way to get around to the pits again from there, so it may be the cause of a few safety cars. Canada Corner, probably not as much, but that's where the other incidents will probably be. But I did a full tank with about 68% of the tyre left on the front left. So we're in a pretty good spot, I think, this week. Just got to do some fine tuning on the pace, and should be in a good spot. Russell's away this week again, so the fastest man in the league is out. So that's our chance to really battle. Glenn, Maddie leading the series at the moment. Dave Holly, sort of the cars that I'm sort of battling with at the moment. So if I can that's the pace I want to be on, because that's where I have been the last couple of weeks. So yeah, we'll see how we go. But other than that, there's no real topic for me to talk about this week. There's no upcoming things lined up, but yeah, I'm enjoying racing, which is the main thing. We're trying to get Buzzer into a few more of these podcasts. He enjoys talking about. This is what I miss. I don't have anyone to really face to face talk about my favorite hobby with. So no one else. Like, I talked to a few people at work about it because they don't mind it, but it's sort of not the same. I don't have anyone else in my life where I can just sit down and just talk straight up about what's happened, what I've done in racing. So that's where the podcast came into effect. And Buzzer did it with the 1000. And he said that he enjoyed doing that because he doesn't get to do that with, he's got no one else in his circles that he gets to do that with. So we're going to try and work something out, but I'm still probably going to record during the day, and then we might just delay the episode till I can get Buzzer on for about 10 minutes and we can talk to him about his 1 or 2 races that he's going to do each week and just see where he's at. So I think that works really well for the current setup. But the only other thing is if you see it come up on the Facebook page, J-Mac is doing the box rally attempt. It's this week. He's raised over 10 grand for Cancer Council at the moment. Massive announcement this week where the box rallies have announced they've raised $50 million total for Cancer Council, which is amazing. So congratulations to them. But J-Mac's going to do on that. I may get him in before he goes and have a bit of a chat before he goes, but I haven't. Like I said, my life has been pretty busy and pretty horrible at the moment, so I haven't really had that chance. But if I don't get him beforehand, I'll get him afterwards, and we'll have a catch up and just talk about his amazing effort of raising so much money, having that Locked On Lads sticker on his car, and yeah, just doing so much good for everyone out there by raising money for cancer. So thank you so much to John McHenry for doing that, and hopefully we might be able to do a bit more racing with him when he's back from that. I know he's been a bit distant at the moment, so hopefully when he gets back he can do a bit more racing, which will be good. But yeah, that's it. Look out for the After Dark episode next week of Locked On iRacing when I talk about Road America for the week. If you've done the official this week, you'll know what that's referencing. Yeah, so that's it for this week. Thank you everyone who has been listening. Watching it on YouTube has been a big help. It's where we've got to go to get our hours up for monetization. So that's why I'm pushing the YouTube a lot more. But there is still a lot of people picking it up on the RSS feed. I didn't think it would. I thought me going to just a solo episode of me talking to myself for a good hour about my races would drop off the numbers dramatically, but it doesn't seem to have. So thank you everyone who's still listening to it and still giving me your time, which has been amazing to see. So hope you all have a really good week and look out for week 6. We're almost halfway through, which means we're getting close to Gen 3. So I can't wait for that. And season 1 of 2025 will be very interesting. I'm very keen to talk about what they announce when they announce it. So anyway, until next week, thank you everyone and goodbye.